Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nyquil here. I decided to make just a quick setup video because a lot of people have the same questions, and I just figured I'll go over a setup and just some basic questions that were being asked a lot. I'm not really an authority on this, but I think I have a general idea of what to do, so feel free to use this guide at your own risk. Just some basic setup. Email, this is just whatever email you purchase Splashforce with. Key, this would be obviously your product key. For obvious reasons, I'm going to leave these blank, but you would put whatever you had in that area. Next, site key. People keep asking for the site key. You can just grab that in the Pharrell channel in the Splashforce Discord. You can just grab this key right here. For now, this key will work pretty much in any region, I believe. But if UN says to use a different site key closer to release, then obviously we're just gonna switch to whatever he tells us to use. But for now, it's this one. You can just copy it, paste it into here. Release timer won't really be necessary for this release because it's a waiting room. If it was a product mode release, then you probably want to check this release timer, but we're going to leave it blank. Carpe, I don't personally use it. If you use it to sell carts, then you can go ahead and fill in your username and password and your price here. Discord, Slack, webhook. This is if you have a domain and you want to output your carts to your Discord so you can either sell them or quickly check them out. You can use this. I do use this feature, and this is my channel right here, Nyquil Carts, where I have all my carts set out to. You can try to log into these, but you're not really going to get anything because I'm pretty sure they're expired. But yeah, you can use that if you want to use Discord. And just make sure that you have /Slack at the end of your URL. So whatever your URL is, make sure you have /Slack at the end of it. It's a common thing that people forget. I'm not really sure if it makes a difference, but always have that at the end. And also with this current update, or the newest update, V205, some people are having problems outputting to Discord. I had the same problem. The way I fixed it was just unchecking Discord, saving the settings, and then rechecking Discord and saving settings, and that fixed the Discord output error for me. For manual CAPTCHA, just leave it at the default 8080 and captcha.adidas.com. Count generation, this is to say if you have like a domain or a catch-all and you want to use that for account gen. This is where you put your prefix, whatever. I think at least one letter in here has to be capital. And domain will be whatever domain you have. And password, I believe the requirements for the password is at least one capital and at least one number. That's what I'm pretty sure the Adidas password requirements are. In terms of Splash, the region, you would use US for US, obviously, GB for UK, and I believe the rest of these are the different EU countries. I'm not too sure. And in terms of the URL, you can also grab this in the Splashforce Discord under the Pharrell release channel. You can just grab any one of these three, and that brings us to like the first common question that a lot of people had. They brought up the fact that these URLs only have one product ID, so will they still be able to get these other two products when they pass Splash? As I understand it, you can use any of these three URLs, because once your bot passes Splash, it'll be able to cart any of these three. I believe they share the same waiting room, so in that case, you can use any of the three URLs in your bot under here. In terms of refresh delay, I think this is a new feature in this release in version 2.05, so I'm just going to leave it at 31. Not really too sure what to do with that. If we're told to change it, then just change it to whatever you think would be better. These are the different CAPTCHA services. I don't personally use any of them. If you do, you can obviously fill them out here. And just make sure you click this little icon to save. Otherwise, all the work you did here is just going to be lost if you ever close the bot or something. On to the next one. Tasks. Now this is where a lot of people had a lot of questions. So the way I'm going to set up tasks is obviously the region, the SKU. I'm going to first take the first SKU, put it in here, say pick like a size, I think 4 is the lowest they go. And then guest is true if you're using an account gen, and then you would leave these empty. You'd leave username and password empty. Proxy true if you're using proxies. CAPTCHA true, this would be a CAPTCHA release, I believe. And Carpe false, as I will not be using Carpe. And checkout, I don't think that feature is enabled yet, the auto checkout feature. Now in terms of how I'm going to do the sizes, I'm going to right click here and do a full size run. And then I'm probably going to put, I'd say 1 or 2 for each of these boxes. Honestly, the amount of tasks and the different product IDs we go for is personal preference. It's just probably what I'll be doing, putting 1 in every single one. I think it goes up to size 13 or 14, I don't know, I'll go up to 14. Click create run, and that'll bring up all my my tasks for just this first product. And then I would repeat this for every single of the other products. So there's 2 more, so I'll grab this, put this into a new task, new task, put in that, pick my size 4 or whatever size, right click, full size run, and just however many I want. I believe you should have more tasks, just because it's just what your bot's going to go for once it passes Splash. So the more tasks you have, the more things your bot is going to try to cart. If you only have like say 5 or 10 tasks and then your bot attempts them and fails them, I think it won't try to attempt them again, which means you'll have a low chance of getting a shoe. So make, like, I'd say maybe 50 to 100 tasks. Once again, personal preference, but I'll be making tasks somewhere around that area, 50 to 100. And once again, just going over this: guest false, proxy false, capture false, carpe false. Oh wait, no, that's not right. Guest should be true. Let me just delete this one real quick. Guest should be true if you're using account gen. Proxy should be true if you're using proxies. Capture true, because it's a capture release, and carpe false if you're not using it. And now on to the next part, which is actually launching the bot. So this is where like most of the questions rise up, the whole thing of how many instances to proxies to tasks and all that nonsense. And just the simplest way for me to explain it is that the tasks, you can treat this as like a shopping list. This is what your bot wants to shop for once it passes the splash. Once your bot passes the splash, it's going to try this first task and then the next task and the next task and so on. I believe it does do them chronologically, which means it goes down this list. So whatever you put on this list is what your bot's going to attempt for, and it's kind of like your shopping list. In terms of what these over here are, you can treat these as people who are like waiting in line, or people who are waiting on the splash trying to get past splash. And that's what these instances are. So I'm just going to go ahead and open my, I think I can find it right here, but in your proxy folder for Splashforce, that's where you paste your proxies, in the proxies.txt file. That's where you paste your proxies. So personally, I'm using 50 proxies. I'm going to paste them twice into my file, which means that it would be like I had 100 proxies. So it means I'll be using a 2-to-1 ratio for my proxies, because I'm essentially doubling them by pasting them twice into my file. So what that means is when I'm going here to launch into the waiting room before I actually start the bot, in proxy instances, I would put 100, because I put my 50 proxies twice. That's 100. Essentially 100 proxies that I'm using, so I'll put 100 in proxy instances, and personally, I put 0 in proxy lists. I know some people say you can run 20 proxy lists, but the way I see it is if you have proxies, why risk getting a ban by running proxy list instances? So me personally, I run 0 in the proxy list instances and waiting room. So with the current waiting room, we don't always know, like stock doesn't always go live exactly at drop time. So at 10 a.m., stock might not necessarily be live. So if you go ahead and start your bot right at 10 a.m., you risk your proxies getting banned, because they'll be passing splash or attempting to pass splash, but there'll be nothing really there when they actually go ahead and pass the splash on Adidas. So usually we wait for UN to give us sort of like to give us a signal to go, a go signal that it's safe to start our task. And once you get that signal, usually he puts it in the release channel for this release. So in this case, it'll be Pharrell. He'll say stock is live or something, and then you'll be safe to go ahead and start your waiting room task. So it will be clicking the waiting room button, and that's where you would start. So once again, just explaining that one more time. Your instances are kind of like how many people you have sitting on Splash, and your tasks are kind of your shopping list once you get past Splash. So this number here, 100 proxy instances, and this number of tasks here do not have to match. You could have like 5 tasks here, you could have 10 tasks here, you could have 30, however many you want here. This is just purely in regards to how many proxy lines you have in your proxies.txt document in your Splashforce folder. So if you have 50 proxies, you put 50. If you have 20 proxies, you put 20. You have no proxies, you put that as 0. And proxyless instances, this is how many instances you want to run without proxy. I personally use 0, but if you have no proxies and you're doing this release with no proxies, you could put 20 here, or whatever number you feel safe. I honestly don't know what number is safe until you get banned, or what number you should put in proxy list. I leave it blank because I run proxies. So yeah, that's most of the questions I can think of that people had in terms of this release. Not really any sort of special setup for this. I think this is a setup people use for Australia, and it worked. Splashforce did quite well. So all I can really say is to just replicate their setup, and hopefully we can replicate their success. If you have any other questions, feel free to DM me on Discord at NyQuil, and yeah, that's the end of this video. Sorry for poor production quality. I don't really fucking know how to make a video. I hope it helps you.